So how do you bring your open, honest self in front of the customer and earn their trust the right way and help them understand that maybe your product is the best product for them? And if that's the case, how you close the sale? That's what the business was founded on. I started working with people around the world, amazing, amazing individuals, and my life has never been the same since.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And today we continue with the series of podcasts, How Successful Entrepreneur Made the First Million. And today we have a special guest that will be sharing with us the good, the bad, and the funny of his process. So could you please, Mark, introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, everyone. I am Mark Talukdar. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a dad. I'm 38 years old. My background is as an engineer. I moved into professional consulting by learning sales and marketing. And recently, I stopped being obese and I became a nationally qualified bodybuilding champion.
Wow, that's amazing. And let's start with the first question. So, Mark, what makes you have a tech background? We all know that the salaries in the tech industry they're very big. They can provide a very comfortable life for you. So, why you decide rather than continue living a comfortable life and get very well paid in US for the skills that you already have, that you then turn a different direction and you decide to do something very risky to do, which is become an entrepreneur. What happened?
Yeah, all my life, you mentioned the really good things. Like we're all looking for comfortable life. And I think that's the problem. All my life, I've never wished for a comfortable life. I've always wished for a hard life because a hard life forces us to push and bring the best out of us. So, I came to the United States at the age of 18 by myself with $83 in my pocket. And I had a really comfortable life in India. So that's how it all got started. So I went to college. I got my bachelor's in computer science and math. I did my master's in IT. I started my journey as a developer, moved into a BA, project management, leadership role. And you're right, money is good in tech. Life is good in tech. And that was my
Beautiful.
strong, right? But at some point in life, we look at ourselves in the mirror and we realize that, at least I realized that this is the only one life that I have. And all my life, I'd been shy. I've been a very shy person. I was not naturally gifted. You meet people in high school and college, and they're just naturally gifted, and people they can talk to people and attract people, and they're just magnetic. And I never had that. I was always the guy behind the computer with my glasses, with doing my work, which is amazing, and I'm proud of that person. But I felt like there was a hole in my life. And it didn't sit well with me that I would just go through life being that way and I would never challenge that. So that caused me to take a U turn, kind of take a stop. I was mad at the time. I told my wife, is it okay with you if I just quit my job and try learning sales for a few months and let's see what happens? And my wife is very supportive. I wouldn't be here without her, all the crazy things that I do. So she said, yeah. So I quit my job. I went into selling cars and just started learning from there. And different type of sales teaches you different types of things. So I went from selling cars to different programs to other things. Finally, I spent about 5 years in sales. When I quit sales, I was nationally ranked. I was the top three in the company. And that was kind of the end of my transformation from being that shy person who couldn't talk, an introvert, into somebody who can talk and you know talk and build relationships and make money off of that.
Wow. And then you decided that was good idea to start a business helping specific tech entrepreneurs to achieve more sales.
Yeah, so from there, I was a full package at that time. When I completed sales, I knew how to code, I knew how to build projects, lead teams, and I knew how to sell. So I became a professional consultant. I moved to New York City. I worked for Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, providing end-to-end services, just a one-man army, right? I walk in, I sell, I go in as a consultant, I do the work, and I built a small team under me. And at some point, I realized, okay, now it's time for the next step. why am I working for someone else again? Right? I think the purpose of pursuit that we all have in life is freedom. But freedom comes with responsibilities, right? So I wanted to be responsible. You were talking about tech salaries being good. Professional consultant salaries are even better, right? From there, again, it was one of those moments where I said, this is wonderful, but I'm getting comfortable. I want to push myself. I want to get to the next level. And that's when I quit my professional consulting career and started a business. And it's a heart-based business. It's a business that is really geared towards helping myself where I was back in the day, because I didn't know where to go. And I went through baptism of fire. I went through horrible, horrible things. When I joined sales, I didn't belong there. I was miserable. I would drive to work in car with like a pencil in between my mouth because I'd read somewhere it'll make you feel happy. That's how miserable I was. And I didn't want anybody else to go through that. So I had learned all these things. I could package it together. So many people, like I'm getting goosebumps as I talked about it because I'm so passionate about it, right? There's so many people who have so much talent and they have spent their entire lives, but they don't get a chance to start their own business because they feel like, well, I'm not a people person. I don't like talking to people. I can't connect with people. So I started this business teaching ethical sales because sales is also a cuss word, right? In many cultures. When you think sales, people like somebody's trying to swindle you into something. So how do you bring your open, honest self in front of the customer and earn their trust the right way and help them understand that maybe your product is the best product for them? And if that's the case, how you close the sale? That's what the business was founded on. I started working with people around the world, amazing, amazing individuals, and my life has never been the same since.
Wow, congratulations. And let's talk before we move to the 5 steps. Let's talk about the myth of sales, right? Because there is a lot of negative connotation about that word out there. And I think if this, all this chat, what it can do for our audience is to see sales in a different way, I think it's going to be a very positive outcome because let's face it, till the sales doesn't happen, companies don't move forward. You don't have a business, you have a hobby,
Yeah.
and the importance come to work on yourself. I admire you what you just shared. That I think that every time that we go to an uncomfortable situation, it's a space for growth. It's a space for us to go to the next level. And as risky as it sounds, it is always an opportunity for growth. And I think that in your personal case, because you wanted to work on yourself, you put that challenge of go and work in a position selling cars, which is something that's completely opposite to be alone in front of the computer. Now you need to have been one environment where you have to talk to people, you have to smile, you have to be very effective, and this is a journey that includes a lot of work. But in your opinion, what would you like to share with people out there listening this podcast that thinks that sale is bad, sale is ugly, or there is one more salespeople want to talk to me? What would you like to share with everyone listening and have this bad connotation about sales?
I'm really glad you brought that up, right? Because you're right. Sales is seen as this ugly, icky thing. But one of the most important realizations that I had was sales is not just about running a business, sales is everywhere. You see a girl you see a guy you like, and you want to ask him out on a date. That's sales, right? You go move to a new city and you're alone and you want to make friends and you want people to like you. Sales, right? So sales is anywhere and everywhere. And there is a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So if you could master the art of communication, then not only just your sales business problem is fixed, it's also fixes your personal life and your networking and your relationships and all of that, right? So at the end of the day, sales isn't just some, and I get a lot of clients who start out and they're expecting some magical 10 voodoo words I'm going to teach them that's this magically just like hypnotize the person and make them buy. It's not what sales is. Sales is about building an honest, open relationship with somebody, right? That you just met. It's honest because you cannot build trust without honesty. It's open because you have to be open to understanding what their problems truly are. So many times we go through life with just preconceived notions, you know. Um, I could point to any part of my life, and people thought I was a certain way because of preconceived notions. They never gave me a chance, right?
Mhm.
So being open and really understanding the client's problem is where it's at. So you have honesty, you're building trust through that honesty, you're truly listening to what that person is saying, and then being able to tie what they are saying to what your product would do for them if it would help them. We have no interest in selling things to people who don't need them. I don't want to live my life that way. I can't go to bed feeling that way. I might make a couple extra bucks doing that way, but I really don't care. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a normal person. I want a normal, good life. And being able to sell this way, you would think would make me less money because that's why people think that, oh, I need to do all these shady things. But it actually does the opposite. It skyrockets you because people connect with you and people realize that you're a real person, not just some shady person trying to sell you something that you don't need.
Hmm. And one of the biggest challenges that we find I invest in some tech startups, and one of the biggest challenges that we find with these tech entrepreneurs, right, is that they are very good at coding, they are very good writing the software, and all the dreams, all the is all about writing the best code and have the best technology out there, and they are not interested in sales whatsoever. They say, no, 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 somebody else do the sales. Don't talk to me about sales. I don't want to know about sales. And I'm like, hey, you are in business. You are the CEO of this company. You are the founder of this business. You
Yeah.
do need to get involved in, because after they're complaining that they don't have any clients. So how come you're not gonna have clients if you as a tech entrepreneur, you don't worry about sales, you don't want to bother about sales. And let's face it, for example, in my first business, and I think everybody there that have a business, the only all this freedom that all we want, that have work no in the business, work on the business. I only became free from our first business. That was properties, managed to sell over 5 million. My freedom came when I increased the sales, because when I was not selling enough, guess what? I have to do everything. I had to find the client, I had to do the operation, I had to do everything. But when I managed to increase the sales, this extra money give me the opportunity to hire people that now can do the job better than me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you realize that the secret that everybody is looking for, that all this freedom and everybody, all the most of the entrepreneurs that I spoke about, they are all overwhelmed. They have thousand things to do. They never have time. And if you focus in increasing your sales, that will give you that freedom, because you can hire an accountant, you can hire even salespeople that are better than yourself. When I hire the salespeople to work in my company, they said the product 20% more expensive than what I'm selling, and I'm like, I don't understand. Because they are specialized, they have a special skill set. But if you, as an entrepreneur, you don't make an effort to learn and to get involved on that, you won't
Yeah.
achieve this extra set that you need to buy your freedom. So that's why in my sales are at the blood of the business. And if
Absolutely.
you don't like to sell, you cannot be in business.
Yeah.
Let's
100%.
let's
100%.
speak the truth. Yeah, you cannot be
Exactly.
an entrepreneur that you don't like sales. You don't want to be involved. Don't be in business. Go back to the tech job and be comfortable there,
Correct.
and you don't have to
Yeah.
deal with sales, and then you're gonna have a happy life with a happy salary. But
Exactly. Exactly.
if you decide to have
Even
a
if
tech
you have a, sorry, go ahead.
go for it.
Even it doesn't matter what you're selling. Even if you're making pizza and you make the world's best pizza, if people don't know about it, nobody's going to buy it.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.